Hometown's Food Company is performing a voluntary recall on Pillsbury unbleached all-purpose flour because it may be contaminated with salmonella. Flour looks pure, right? Simple white powder, the foundation of every recipe your grandmother made. But open the wrong bag, and what you're really baking with is chlorine gas residues, a carcinogen banned in 30-plus countries, and Roundup sprayed on wheat days before harvest. For parents teaching kids to bake or seniors making homemade bread for health, this isn't just flour, it's chemical processing disguised as a pantry staple. In today's video, we're exposing 7 flour brands you should never buy, even if they've been in your kitchen for decades. Stay tuned till the end because we'll reveal 2 brands that are actually safe. Brand number 1, White Lily. White Lily has been selling itself as Southern heritage since 1883, the red and blue bag that shows up in biscuit recipes older than some towns. I bought a bag the same way most people do, off a normal grocery shelf, no special aisle, no warning label, just all-purpose flour, like it's the safest thing in the pantry. The moment I sliced it open, I did what I always do now. I smelled it first. There was wheat, sure, but underneath, a faint antiseptic edge like someone cleaned the room and forgot to open a window. I pinched a little between my fingers. It didn't feel like ground grain. It felt like cosmetic powder, too silky, too uniform, almost engineered. White Lily's famous tenderness doesn't come from magical wheat. It comes from chlorine gas treatment, a process that bleaches flour and breaks down protein so dough turns softer, faster, more predictably. And I can't unsee the historical irony. Chlorine gas is also the kind of gas warfare history remembers from 1915, the Ypres attacks that killed and injured thousands. No, your flour isn't a battlefield weapon, but the same chemical class of gas exposure should never be something we casually normalize in food. Here's the regulatory contrast that hit me hardest. Flour bleaching agents like chlorine aren't allowed in the UK's rules for flour and bread. Government guidance updated April 2025 states flour bleaching agents are not permitted. And in the wider European system, industry literature notes chlorinated wheat flour for cake/bakery applications was banned following EFSA action in 1998. That's not a fringe blogger. That's the other side of the ocean deciding this method doesn't belong in food. It means you're repeatedly eating a pantry staple that has been chemically pushed away from what wheat naturally is. The label whispers pure. The process says processed. My conclusion on White Lily is blunt. Tradition doesn't excuse outdated chemistry. If you want a practical line in the sand, make it this. Stop buying flour that needs gas treatment to behave. Brand number 2, Soft-to-Silk Cake Flour. Soft-to-Silk sells perfection birthday cakes that rise evenly, crumb that looks like velvet, results that never surprise you. I poured it into my palm, and the first thing that struck me was the color. Not cream, not wheat-toned paper white. Then I squeezed it. It clumped and held shape in a way real flour usually doesn't. That's not a magic trick. That's industrial design. Cake flour typically runs around 6 to 8% protein, while many all-purpose flours sit closer to 10 to 12%, and that gap changes everything about structure and tenderness. Soft-to-Silk leans hard into that low-protein target, then stacks processing on top. Chlorination doesn't just whiten, it alters how starch interacts with sugar and liquid. The point is consistency at scale, what food science calls functional modification. Soft-to-Silk's own product page lists bleached wheat flour, plus added nutrients like niacin, iron, thiamine, riboflavin, folic acid. That's the loop. Strip, bleach, standardize, then add back vitamins and call it enriched. Again, no one bite is a crime scene. The concern is what happens when homemade becomes a marketing costume for an ingredient that behaves less like food and more like a controlled industrial input. For people trying to reduce additives, manage digestion, or simply feed kids something closer to real wheat, this is the wrong direction. Brand number 3, Swan's Down Cake Flour. Swan's Down was established in 1894. The box looks like it belongs in a glass cabinet, not a modern supermarket. Old typography, muted colors, the quiet promise that this is how baking used to be done. I bought a box and did what most people never do anymore. I turned it around and read every line. The second ingredient stopped me. Cornstarch. Not wheat. Corn. That means this isn't pure cake flour at all. It's wheat flour cut with a cheaper filler to artificially lower protein. The front of the box never tells you that. Only the fine print does. Then there's the processing. Swan's Down uses 2 separate bleaching agents. First, chlorine gas to weaken the proteins and whiten the flour. Second, benzoyl peroxide to accelerate artificial aging and push the color even further toward pure white. Double bleaching. 2 chemical interventions for a product that already isn't fully wheat. When I poured it into a bowl and spread it thin, The texture wasn't uniform. If you look closely, you can actually see variation, fine particles that behave differently, because cornstarch and wheat flour never truly become one. Real cake flour milled from wheat alone doesn't do that. Here's why this matters beyond labels. Cornstarch changes how your body processes carbohydrates. It digests faster, spikes blood sugar more aggressively, and adds bulk without nutrients. Combine that with heavy bleaching that strips natural pigments and structure, and you're left with something that looks nostalgic but behaves like a modern cost-cutting formula. 130 years of branding, hiding a very contemporary shortcut. My conclusion with Swan's Down is blunt. Heritage packaging does not equal heritage food. If a cake flour needs fillers and double chemical treatment to perform, it's not something I want in a kitchen that's trying to be intentional. Brand number 4, Great Value All-Purpose Flour, Walmart. This one required the most restraint because it's easy to point fingers at a budget brand and stop thinking. But this isn't about price. It's about what happens when sourcing decisions are driven almost entirely by cost. Great Value flour is sold everywhere Walmart operates. Millions of households buy it weekly. Families stretching paychecks. Seniors on fixed incomes, college students learning to cook. I scooped some into a bowl and it looked completely normal. No smell, no discoloration, nothing your senses could warn you about. In 2018, the Environmental Working Group tested conventional flour products sold in the U.S. for glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup. The result was not most. It was 100%. Every conventional flour sample tested contained detectable glyphosate. Some samples exceeded what EWG calculated as health-based thresholds for children. This isn't accidental contamination, it's systemic. Farmers spray glyphosate on wheat crops days before harvest in a process called desiccation. It dries the plant faster, saves time, saves money, and locks residues into the grain right before it's milled. In 2015, the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer classified glyphosate as a probable human carcinogen. Since then, more than 100,000 cancer-related lawsuits have been filed in the U.S., and Bayer, which acquired Monsanto, has paid over $10 billion in settlements. That number matters because companies don't pay $10 billion unless the evidence is strong enough to scare shareholders. And yet, Great Value flour doesn't test for glyphosate, doesn't disclose sourcing by farm or region, and doesn't warn consumers. Walmart buys from whoever bids lowest. The flour goes on the shelf. End of story. You can't see glyphosate. You can't smell it. You can't feel it between your fingers. But it's there, baked into pancakes, pizza dough, bread, week after week. And after seeing what chemical processing and pesticide exposure look like at opposite ends of the price spectrum, I realized the next brands on the list weren't accidents either. They were choices. Choices made by companies people trust the most. Brand number 5, Pillsbury. Pillsbury isn't just a flour brand, it's a symbol. The Doughboy first appeared in 1965, and for nearly 60 years, that soft laugh has been printed onto bags that families instinctively trust. Pillsbury flour is sold nationwide, stacked at eye level in major grocery chains, often right next to the brand your grandmother used. Some Pillsbury flour varieties contain potassium bromate, a dough strengthener classified as a probable carcinogen. This isn't controversial internationally. Potassium bromate is banned in the European Union, Canada, the United Kingdom, China, and more than 30 countries overall. In the United States, the FDA formally asked bakers to stop using it back in 1991. That was 33 years ago. A request, not a ban. Many companies ignored it. What makes Pillsbury different isn't just the chemical, it's the inconsistency. Some bags list bromated flour, others don't. The labeling varies by facility, by region, sometimes by batch. Standing in my kitchen with 2 bags bought weeks apart, I realized something uncomfortable. Most consumers have no reliable way to know what they're actually using unless they scrutinize every line, every time. Now zoom out and look at Pillsbury's business model. They don't just sell flour, they sell refrigerated dough tubes, frozen pastries, pie crusts, biscuit cans, cookie dough, cake mixes. If your bread fails, they sell the shortcut. If your pie crust collapses, they sell the replacement. Every baking failure nudges consumers toward their convenience products. Potassium bromate has been linked in animal studies to kidney and thyroid tumors, which is why so many governments removed it from the food supply entirely. Pillsbury chose not to. Brand number 6, Gold Medal. Gold Medal flour has been sold for over 140 years. It's one of the most widely used flours in the United States, backed by a multi-billion-dollar parent company. This is the brand people point to when they say, they wouldn't mess this up. But history says otherwise. In 2016, the FDA issued an urgent public health warning tied to an E. coli outbreak. The source was traced back to gold medal flour produced at 3 facilities. The recall pulled roughly 10 million pounds of flour from shelves. The outbreak affected 46 people across 21 states. 13 were hospitalized. Several developed hemolytic uremic syndrome, a serious condition that can cause permanent kidney damage, from flour, a dry pantry staple people routinely let kids handle while baking. Afterward, the company promised reforms, better monitoring, better safety controls. But one thing didn't change. Gold Medal continued selling bromated flour. And here's the number that changed how I see this brand forever. California. Under Proposition 65, products containing chemicals linked to cancer must carry warning labels. Instead of warning consumers, Gold Medal reformulated its flour for California. No bromate, no label. Even cleaner product. The other 49 states, they kept the bromated versions. And after seeing this pattern repeat across trusted names, it became clear that avoiding risk wasn't about finding the least bad brand anymore. It was about choosing a different standard entirely. Brand number 7, King Arthur, conventional, non-organic. King Arthur positions itself as the ethical choice. Employee-owned, premium pricing. Serious bakers swear by it. The bag costs roughly 40 to 50% more than Gold Medal in most stores. I bought the conventional, unbleached, all-purpose version the one millions of people grab specifically because they think they're avoiding the worst problems. I opened it, smelled it, felt it. No chlorine edge, no artificial slickness. On the surface, it feels like a win. But unbleached only tells you what didn't happen in the mill. It says nothing about what happened in the field. Conventional wheat farming in the U.S. still relies on glyphosate-based herbicides. Pre-harvest desiccation isn't a fringe practice, it's standard. The Environmental Working Group's testing didn't carve out exceptions for premium brands. Their data showed 100% of conventional flour samples contained detectable glyphosate, regardless of price point. King Arthur's conventional flour comes from that same agricultural reality. There is no evidence they test for glyphosate, no certification stating they avoid it, no disclosure about farms, regions, or spray practices. Here's the number that turns disappointment into betrayal. King Arthur already solved this problem. Their organic line exists. Organic certification explicitly prohibits synthetic herbicides like glyphosate. That means they have access to clean wheat, vetted farms, and segregated supply chains. They know how to do it. They just reserve it for a different product line, sold for more. So what are you paying that extra 50% for with conventional King Arthur? Better marketing, better storytelling, not better wheat. That realization forced me to recalibrate. Avoiding bad flour isn't enough. You need to actively choose flour made under a different system, which brings me to the first brand I can actually recommend without caveats. Recommended brand number 1, Bob's Red Mill Organic Unbleached All-Purpose Flour. Bob Moore started this company in 1978 with a stone mill and a simple rule. If you can't explain an ingredient, it doesn't belong in food. I opened the bag and immediately noticed the difference. The color isn't white, it's cream-toned. That's natural wheat pigment, the part bleaching destroys. The smell is warm and grainy. No chemical sharpness. When I rub it between my fingers, there's texture. It feels alive. The ingredient list is 1 line long. Organic, unbleached wheat flour. That's it. No chlorine gas, no benzoyl peroxide, no potassium bromate. And because it's certified organic, no glyphosate. Not pre-harvest, not post-harvest, not within legal limits. Organic standards remove that entire category of exposure by default. Here's the number most people miss. Switching from conventional to organic flour typically adds about 40 cents to 60 cents per recipe. That's the real cost difference. Less than $1 to remove chemical bleaching, synthetic herbicides, and controversial dough conditioners from something you eat hundreds of times per year if you bake even once a week. Bob's Red Mill also publishes sourcing information and third-party certifications. Transparency isn't a marketing slogan here, it's operational. When a company has nothing to hide, they don't rely on nostalgia or mascots. They rely on facts. That brings me to the second brand I can recommend, with conditions. Recommended brand number 2, Arrowhead Mills Organic Unbleached All-Purpose Flour. Arrowhead Mills has been around since 1960, and unlike brands that built their reputation on nostalgia or mascots, their identity has always leaned on grains, sourcing, and organic standards. The first thing I check is the ingredient line because ingredient lists don't perform for the camera, they confess. With Arrowhead Mills, the label stays simple. Organic wheat flour, unbleached, no chemical whitening, no performance additives, no bromate, No mystery wording that forces you to squint. In my kitchen, the sensory cues line up with what the label promises. The flour isn't blinding white. It carries a faint cream tone that actually looks like ground grain, not processed powder. The smell is warm and weedy. When I run it through my fingers, it flows like flour should. Not silky like talc, not clumpy like engineered starch. It feels normal in the best way. Now, price. Arrowhead Mills Organic typically runs a couple dollars more per bag than conventional flour, the kind of difference that sounds big until you spread it across real life. If you bake even once a week, that's 50+ exposures per year from this single ingredient. So the cost isn't $2 extra today. It's what you're choosing to repeat dozens of times a year without thinking. At this point, people usually ask me the same thing. How do I choose flour without memorizing brand names? First, certification matters more than marketing language. Words like unbleached or natural mean very little on their own. Organic certification, while not perfect, eliminates entire categories of risk, especially synthetic herbicides like glyphosate. Second, ingredient lists should be boring. One ingredient is ideal. The moment you see enriched, ask why nutrients had to be added back. The moment you see bromated, walk away. Flour doesn't need performance enhancers to be functional. It needs good wheat. Third, pay attention to color and feel. If flour is blindingly white, unnaturally silky, or clumps like cosmetic powder, that's information. Real flour has variation. It flows. It smells like grain, not nothing. Fourth, history matters. Brands with major recalls, especially involving pathogens like E. coli, deserve extra scrutiny, not blind loyalty. Transparency after a crisis tells you more than decades of advertising ever could. Chemical bleaching disguised as tradition. Fillers hiding behind heritage packaging. Pesticide residues you can't smell, taste, or see. So here's the only thing I'll ask you to do next. Go to your kitchen, open the pantry, take out the flour you're using right now. Read the label slowly. Look for words like bleached, bromated, enriched. Ask yourself where the wheat came from and what had to happen to it before it reached your hands. If something doesn't sit right anymore, you should trust that feeling. Awareness is usually the first signal that something needs to change.